Training. This training is designed to act as a program and process manual for our lending partners. You'll be guided through training that is equipped with direct links to all the resources you need. Now, whether you're watching it in full or maybe skipping to a part that's most relevant to you, we hope you find the new training helpful as you navigate through the WEDA loan process. As with anything in our industry, guidelines and programs are subject to change at any time. This information is for training purposes only, and it may not highlight all aspects of our programs, so we always recommend you visit our lender toolkit and our WEDA website to view full program details. Lenders sometimes wonder how to identify what type of borrowers would benefit from a WEDA loan. The truth is, most borrowers within the income limits can benefit from a WEDA loan. The quote-unquote why behind our programs is to help prospective homeowners purchase or refinance a home affordably. This is done by providing financing options with key loan features centered around reducing the cost to the buyer. We have guidelines and parameters specific to being a housing finance authority. It's important to remember that our programs are conventional and FHA loan products with unique features. Now, unfortunately, there are some common misconceptions surrounding WEDA programs, and I want to clarify this up front for you before we get started. WEDA borrowers don't need to be first-time home buyers, and they don't have to need down payment assistance. We don't require additional inspections, and our appraisals follow the loan program: conventional financing, conventional appraisal; FHA financing, HUD appraisal. Did you know that you can even issue a WEDA pre-approval and just state conventional or FHA financing? Because that is truly what it is. WEDA doesn't currently have any limit on assets, and we don't run out of funds because we're self-funded. And lastly, that our loan programs can be difficult or cumbersome. When you understand the program parameters, know where to find resources and forms, and follow your internal loan process, it isn't much different than other programs you offer. WEDA releases our rates and lending updates via email subscription. Check internally to see if there are specific preferences pertaining to sign-up. Now, our rate sheets contain daily rates to our programs, lender compensation based for that rate, allowable fees, and it links directly to helpful resources. Here are a few helpful tips when getting started. Know who your delegated administrator is. This is your internal contact for WEDA Connect, which I'll cover later. Become familiar with any internal processes centered around a WEDA loan and what delivery channel or channels your organization works through. This slide contains important links and the email address to reach out to our sales team with questions. All right, let's jump into the delivery channels. WEDA offers 3 different delivery channels that our lenders can choose to work through, either for preference or to offer specific loan programs. The first channel is our broker channel, and this is the original channel to WEDA. In this channel, WEDA underwrites the loans and issues your clear to close. And due to Fannie Mae requirements, WEDA is required to order the appraisal. Your AUS findings are required to be run through WEDA-sponsored DO. This is what allows you to release the findings to WEDA for underwriting purposes. Lender compensation can be found on the broker's rate sheet, and lenders are not able to charge any additional fees outside of our fees and third-party fees. Funds are requested from WEDA at least 2 business days prior to closing, so this means all broker channel files are table funded. In the mini correspondent delivery channel, WEDA is still the underwriter and issues the clear to close. However, lenders fund both the first mortgage and the down payment assistance loan if applicable. You are required to utilize WEDA-sponsored DO in this channel as well. Now, once the loan is closed, it's delivered to WEDA for purchase. In this channel, lenders can charge up to 2% origination fees and a max 5% including all fees. This channel is utilized as a primary channel for manually underwritten loans if it's permitted by your organization, and the home style renovation enhancement if your organization participates. For additional guidance pertaining to the mini correspondent channel, you can utilize the link above to view the section noted. The last channel is our correspondent delivery channel. This is our wholesale delivery channel, and in this channel, the lending partner underwrites the file internally and issues the clear to close. Now, the lenders will fund both the first mortgage and the WHEDA down payment assistance loan if applicable. But in this channel, lenders can choose to utilize DO or DU to run their findings, and if they're financing an FHA loan, they could possibly use LPA. WEDA will review and purchase the loan post-closing. In this channel, lenders can also charge up to 2% origination and has a 5% max overall on fees. Review our Policies and Procedures Manual Section 6 for additional guidance. Now that we understand delivery channels, let's jump into WEDA's program lineup, including some special programs we offer. WEDA offers a conventional Fannie Mae first mortgage product. As with any other mortgage, there are program specifics that the borrower or borrowers must meet. All program specifics can be found on the WEDA Conventional Product Matrix. Anything not addressed in the product matrix will follow Fannie Mae selling guides. But let's review a couple important things. The AUS must receive and approve eligible decision. A WEDA conventional loan can be used on a purchase transaction or even a WEDA to WEDA refinance. Acceptable property types include single-family homes, multi-unit properties up to 4 units that are over 5 years old, Fannie Mae warrantable condos, and even manufactured double-wide homes that are on their own land. If your borrowers are purchasing a multi-unit property, borrowers will need 6 months reserves and a 3% borrower investment into the transaction. By pairing our down payment assistance program with a conventional loan, there is a $0 borrower investment into a single-family home, condo, or a manufactured home. For borrowers that are eligible for conventional loans, they may be able to take advantage of a reduced interest rate. There are 3 ways that borrowers can receive a reduced rate. The first way is by being a first-time home buyer as defined by the IRS. Note that if you have 2 borrowers, both must meet the IRS definition. The second way is if the borrower is an eligible veteran with a DD-214 that states honorable discharge. The VALOR rate for eligible veterans doesn't use any VA eligibility benefits. They don't pay a funding fee, a termite inspection isn't required, and it's truly a conventional loan with a conventional appraisal and MI if applicable. The third way a reduced rate can be used is if the borrower is purchasing a property located in a federal or state designated target area. There are 15 whole counties in the state of Wisconsin and even certain parts of municipalities throughout the state. Links to the census tract and other target area information can be found on the Lender Toolkit and at the bottom of each page of the Household Compliance Income and Purchase Price Limits worksheet. WEDA's other first mortgage program is FHA. All program specifics are outlined in the product matrix, which can be found on our Lender Toolkit. Anything not covered will follow the HUD handbook. There are some WEDA specifics regarding FHA that are different than a standard FHA loan, so it's important to know these. What differs from a standard FHA is that WEDA requires borrowers to have a minimum credit score of 640 and a max debt to income ratio of 45%. Now, in addition, WEDA FHA can only be used for purchases. Borrowers are still required to have 3.5% investment. However, by using a WEDA down payment assistance loan, this will satisfy that requirement. Lenders operating in the correspondent channel must possess an unconditional DE with HUD in order to originate WEDA FHA loans. Lenders operating in the broker or mini correspondent channels can originate FHA loans through WEDA-sponsored origination. WEDA offers 2 down payment assistance options. Please note that neither of these DPAs are grants. Both are loans and are payable. Our most used DPA is the WEDA Easy Close. All program requirements and specifics can be found on the Easy Close product matrix located on our Lender Toolkit. The Easy Close loan amount can be up to 6% of the purchase price with a minimum of $1,000. It's payable at the same interest rate as the borrower's first mortgage and is termed at 10 years. The Easy Close can be combined with our Fannie Mae approved Community Seconds with a max CLTV of 105%. Now, this is a TRID compliant loan that requires an LE, CD, note, and a mortgage. The loan can be used for down payment, closing costs, even single premium MI. When you're entering the Easy Close in your 1003, you must enter it as a secondary or subordinate financing so that the borrower's DTI and LTV is calculated correctly. Please note that in order for the borrower to take advantage of the Easy Close, they must be obtaining a WHEDA first mortgage. The second down payment assistance loan that we offer is Capital Access. Again, all program specifics can be found on the product matrix. The link is available on this slide. The Capital Access loan is a $7,500 loan, no matter purchase price, that can be used for down payment, closing costs, or single premium MI. Now, one of the best features of Capital Access is that it's a zero interest and no monthly payment loan. This loan isn't paid off until the first mortgage is paid in full. It can be combined with other Fannie Mae approved Community Seconds with a max LTV of 105%. Because Capital Access doesn't follow TRID, there are no additional disclosures, just a note and a mortgage. Now, please note that there are separate and lower income and purchase price limits for the Capital Access loan. And if you're choosing to do a Capital Access, you must use those income limits for your first mortgage option. WEDA does have some requirements outside of Fannie Mae and HUD guidelines, and it's important to familiarize yourself with them. And WEDA requires that you pull a separate credit report for any non-borrowing spouse, and the borrower must qualify with all debts. In addition, any judgments outstanding that were incurred in the interest of the marriage must be paid in full. Subject properties must be located in the state of Wisconsin and owner-occupied. And if the property is a multi-unit property, the borrower must occupy at least one unit. Borrowers can't be listed on the child support lien docket. Should they be paying in arrears, they must have a documented payment plan with on-time payments for at least 6 months. Borrowers must also be legal U.S. residents with a valid Social Security number, and DACA status borrowers are allowable. If their residency is set to expire prior to closing, the lender must provide proof that the renewal application is in process. And unfortunately, at this time, I-10 borrowers are ineligible for WEDA financing. Only approved borrower or borrowers and a non-applicant spouse can be listed on the offer to purchase, mortgage, final title, and note. No matter the mortgage program that is chosen, all first-time home buyers must complete home buyer education that meets the national industry standards for home buyer education. If both borrowers are first-time home buyers, only one borrower will need to complete the home buyer education course. If one borrower is not a first-time home buyer, then the education is waived. Landlord education will be required if the subject property is a multi-unit property. And if your borrower is a first-time home buyer purchasing a multi-unit property, they'll have to take both. All reoccurring non-payroll deposits should be explained or sourced to make sure there are no other sources of income. This is important because it could impact your compliance income calculation. Through our borrower's affidavit or Form 2, WEDA is notified of who will be a household member. Keep in mind that household members are considered to be anyone that will be occupying the property as their primary residence, no matter the relationship to the borrower. All loans will be service released to WEDA, where WEDA will service the loan locally from Madison. High-priced mortgage loans are eligible for FHA financing only. The WEDA fees associated with each channel vary, and it's important to know which channel your organization operates through to ensure your fees are accurately disclosed. Now, as a state housing financing authority, we are tasked with the administration of the Mortgage Credit Certificate Program, also known as MCC. The MCC program is what allows borrowers to receive a tax benefit that can either increase their annual refund or reduce their liability at tax time. Borrowers need to apply at the time of purchase and can be renewed during a refinance. They can receive up to $2,000 a year as a tax benefit. This isn't a one-time deal. It can be used each year up to 30 years or until the time of sale. Lenders also receive a benefit of being able to add $2,000 a year to qualifying income. Now keep in mind, if you add it to the qualifying income, it must be included in your compliance income. To get started, loan officers should inquire internally to ensure their organization has signed up to participate with the MCC program, and then take the separate certification course and pass a test prior to originating an MCC. Training is available on demand, and a link is provided on the slide. WEDA also offers home-style renovation enhancement to our conventional first mortgage program. The home-style renovation enhancement is an extension of the WEDA conventional loan program. This allows borrowers to purchase and renovate a home within a single transaction. Not only can this be completed on a purchase, but also a refinance. Borrowers need to obtain bids from licensed and insured contractors for all the work that will be completed, so that the appraisal can be done subject to. Sales prices should be negotiated as normal, and borrowers receive 6 months to complete the work. If they can't occupy the property during the renovation period, they may be able to finance 6 months of mortgage payments into the loan. After closing, WEDA and the title company will handle all draws and lien waivers. This program is only available in our broker and mini correspondent channels. Loan officers should check internally to see if their organization is signed up to participate. The LOs will need to take a separate certification course and pass a test prior to originating a home-style loan. Our last special program is HILP, or Home Improvement Loan Program. The HILP loan product is a second mortgage that eligible homeowners can use to make much-needed repairs to their home. HILP allows borrowers to borrow $10,000 to $50,000 over a 15-year term, and their first mortgage doesn't need to be with WEDA. They can go up to 125% loan to value, and borrowers must have a minimum score of 620. This program is only available in our broker delivery channel. Just like the other two special programs, loan officers should inquire internally to see if their organization participates in the program before completing the separate certification course and test. Now let's talk about one of my favorite topics, compliance income, and how to calculate it and the resources WEDA has available for its lending partners. As a housing finance authority that is mission-based, WEDA uses household compliance income limits to fulfill its mission. In order to be eligible to utilize any WEDA loan programs, the total household compliance income from all occupants intending to occupy the property must be below the income limit for that program, county, and household size. All income, whether adult earned or minor unearned, needs to be included in the compliance income calculations. Lenders will need to use the greater of the current gross income from all verified sources projected forward for 12 months, or the gross income from all adult sources earned in the last tax year. Incorrect compliance income calculations are the number one reason for loan denials in a non-purchased loan. Now keep in mind, compliance income is different than qualifying income. Compliance income determines program eligibility, while qualifying income is what determines DTI and what is run through AUS. There are many resources available to you as a lending partner within our lender toolkit. In the event that lenders are aware of additional household occupants with earned income above the age of 18, there are additional requirements. Now this list isn't all-inclusive, so your underwriter may condition for additional information. Now we understand it may be difficult to navigate the household compliance income and purchase price limits form. With some clarification and simple steps, it'll be easy in no time. First, make sure you correctly identify the county that the property is located in. Then, identify the number of people that will occupy the property. After you have the correct number of occupants, make sure you identify the program that your borrowers are applying for. This is located across the top. Please note that the green columns are used for the reduced rate options and MCC. The teal columns are used for standard conventional and FHA financing. Then determine if the property is located in a target area. If it isn't, then make sure to use the non-target columns. Lastly, you'll need to review the last page to make sure that the purchase price and loan amount are within the program limits. For WHEDA conventional loans, you'll need to determine the correct MI coverage. The first place you should review is your findings. There you will find the coverage requirement per AUS. Then you'll need to review the bright yellow column on the compliance income and purchase price limit form. This column is only used to determine MI coverage. The column lists the Fannie Mae 80% AMI limit for each county. You will use the qualifying income to compare to the AMI limit. If your qualifying income is above the AMI limit, then you'll need to use standard level coverage. If your qualifying income is below the AMI limit, then you'll use charter level coverage. As WHEDA lending partners, you have many resources available to you to aid in calculating compliance income. The very first link for the compliance income training is our newest training. Here, we review an example and show you how to use our compliance income worksheet, which is our fillable Excel spreadsheet. We have downloadable documents including W-2s and pay stubs, and a completed income worksheet for the example that we review in training. It's hands-on and teaches you truly how to calculate compliance income. Our next resource available to you is our compliance income worksheet. As I stated before, it is our fillable Excel spreadsheet. It's not required on every loan, but it's highly recommended. Our next resource is our Compliance Income Evaluation Request Form, or Form 29. Complete the form and send in all the required documentation, and a WHEDA underwriter will review your compliance income and sign off on it. Now we should have a good idea of what it takes to obtain a WHEDA loan. Let's jump into the process and apply everything we've learned so far. The origination process could be similar to any other loan that you may have originated in the past. First, you'll review WHEDA Form 2 or the borrower's affidavit with the borrowers at the time of application. You'll use this form to determine the number of household occupants and if they have any income. Then you'll review the conventional product matrix and the FHA product matrix to ensure that the loan scenario meets all WHEDA loan requirements and overlays. Then you'll calculate your compliance income and review WHEDA compliance income and purchase price limits form to verify that your compliance income calculation is below the limit for that program, household size, and county. Now, if you're utilizing capital access down payment assistance, you must utilize the capital access income and purchase price limits form. And remember, you have to use that income limit for your first mortgage as well. Then you'll determine the correct rate based on the program. Now, some of this might be happening all at the same time, but you're going to enter the loan into your loan operating system and run AUS according to the delivery channel that you operate in. Don't forget, you have to make sure the loan reflects HFA preferred by selecting community lending. Broker and mini correspondent channel lenders will need to run this through WHEDA sponsored DO and release the findings to WHEDA when it comes time. Then you'll utilize the Register and Lock Your Loan job aid to get the loan registered and locked within WHEDA Connect. You'll issue the appropriate disclosures according to TRID for both the first mortgage and the Easy Close if applicable. Now, utilizing the application package checklist or Form 6, you'll begin to structure your file and gather the required documentation and complete all WHEDA required forms. Follow your internal loan process for any additional steps or processes set by your organization. Now, when it comes time to submit your loan for underwriting, the process varies slightly depending on the channel that your institution chose to work through. If you're in the broker or the mini correspondent channel, you'll submit your complete application package with the application package checklist or Form 6. You'll submit it within WHEDA Connect, and don't forget you have to resolve the tasks so that we can see the file. Now, if you're a wholesale lender operating in our correspondent channel, you'll submit the file to your internal underwriter to underwrite the loan. Now, whether a WEDA underwriter or your internal underwriter has reviewed the loan, they'll render one of the following decisions: an approval, a suspense, or a denial. Now, don't forget, please upload only the documentation that's listed on Form 6 or the application package checklist. Your file turn time can be significantly impacted or possibly even rejected if you submit documents that are outside of that checklist. Now, once the loan is received to clear to close, whether it's from your internal underwriter or a WEDA underwriter, you will begin to prepare the file for closing. Now, at closing, you'll be reviewing certain things like cash back. Borrowers can only receive cash back in the amount they can prove that they paid outside of closing. WEDA strongly encourages lenders to consider the following alternatives to the principal reductions. You can reduce the loan amount of any existing secondary financing, such as the easy close, or reduce the loan amount on the first mortgage. All principal reductions noted on the final closing disclosure will be netted from your funding. And remember, if you're purchasing a 2 to 4 unit property, you have to ensure the minimum contribution is met first. Escrows are required for all WEDA loans regardless of loan to value, and a 1-month cushion is required. You'll escrow for property taxes, homeowners insurance, which should be in WEDA's name, mortgage insurance if applicable, and flood insurance if applicable. Now please note, property taxes are paid annually in December. Do not select paid twice a year, January and July, because we'll do an escrow analysis for every delivered loan. This could impact your borrower's escrow payment. For additional guidance on closing a WEDA loan, see Section 9 of our WEDA Policy and Procedures Manual. Now, when it comes time to close your WEDA loan, the process will vary depending on the channel that your institution works through, or the channel that you submitted the file through. Lenders will close first mortgages and the WEDA down payment assistance loan if applicable, and fund the transaction with their own funds or a warehouse line of credit on or before the rate lock expiration date, with the exception of broker channel loans because they're table funded. Now, conventional first mortgage loans that are closing in the mini correspondent and correspondent channels will close in the lender's name. Now, FHA first mortgage loans vary. If they're closing in the correspondent or mini correspondent channel utilizing the lender's unconditional DE, those loans will close in the lender's name. Broker channel and mini correspondent FHA loans that are closed utilizing WEDA sponsored origination must close in WEDA's name. Easy close down payment assistance loans following a conventional first mortgage will close in the lender's name. And if the easy close is following an FHA loan, it must close in WEDA's name. Now, capital access down payment assistance loans will always close in WEDA's name. If the loan application requires PMI, the lender should obtain a CC or a commitment certificate through an eligible PMI provider. Now, if you need a list of the eligible providers, you can find them on our lender toolkit. The PMI rate plan may be charged monthly or single. Any premium due at closing has to be paid by the borrower and may not be financed into the loan. Homeowners insurance is required on all loans, and the insurance policy must provide for claims to be settled on a replacement cost basis. And policies that are provided for claims to be settled on an actual cash value basis are no longer acceptable. Deductibles are allowed to be a max of 5% of the face value amount of the insurance policy. And the mortgagee clause should be provided for WEDA so that the insurance company can have it listed. Lenders will also provide a receipt for the first year premium, whether it's paid up front by the borrower or charged on the closing disclosure. Lenders will also notify the insurance company of WEDA's loan number and instruct the insurer to send any annual renewal premium notices to WEDA. Lenders then will execute all closing documents as listed on the WEDA Form 12 closing package checklist. Now remember, WEDA does not accept MERS, so in order to transfer the loan, you'll need to record an assignment of mortgage, and it has to be recorded for both the first and the easy close. Now we've moved on to the funding process. First, lenders will overnight the original note. They'll complete the funding request Form 7 and submit within 10 calendar days of closing. In the broker channel, you've completed this form 2 business days prior to closing for table funding. In the mini correspondent channel, you'll submit it with your closing package post-closing. And in the correspondent channel, you should refer to section 6.14 of our policy and procedures manual before submitting a loan for purchase. For the loans to be deemed complete, the final package must include 2 separate uploads into WEDA Connect. First is the closing documents package. This package should include all documents listed on our closing package checklist or Form 12, except for the first mortgage, recorded assignment, and final title policy. The trailing documents package is next. This includes the recorded mortgage, recorded assignment, and final title policy. A recorded mortgage and recorded assignment should also be included for the WEDA DPA loan if applicable. Now note, for lenders in the correspondent delivery channel, you will also submit the application package checklist and all documentation required. Now, after the loan has been approved for purchase, WEDA will send a purchase advice notice to the individuals listed on the funding request form or Form 7. It can also be found within the eDocs section of WEDA Connect. Now, for additional post-closing guidance, please see Section 10 of the WEDA Policies and Procedures Manual. You've heard me mention WEDA Connect throughout the training. Now let's review, very high level, some aspects about WEDA Connect. WEDA Connect is the online portal or paperless system that we use. Now you'll use it to register and lock your loan and upload all documentation. Each lending partner has an internal contact within their organization known as a delegated administrator, who's your main contact to set up your account and permissions and reset your password if you're locked out. If you don't know who this person is, just reach out to sales@wheda.com and we'll let you know. Within WEDA Connect, you use the Register and Lock job aid, as well as the following job aids based on your delivery channel. Here are some helpful tips. Import your findings into WEDA Connect according to the job aid and fill in the remaining items to ensure you get accurate pricing. We recommend you don't manually enter the loan within WEDA Connect. Follow the job aid step-by-step process. Now, once a loan is locked, it'll be put into read-only status and cannot be changed from the lender's side. You can only change it by contacting lockdesk@wheda.com. You can send them an email with detailed information and include the WEDA loan number, name, and/or address. When uploading documents, we strongly suggest that you make a shipping template or a stacking list that matches the application package checklist, Form 6, and Form 12, which is the closing package checklist, to ensure only the documents necessary are submitted. Remember, sending more than what's required could result in a file delay or a file rejection of upload. And don't forget, resolve the task when you upload documents. If you don't, we can't access the file. And remember, I know it's hard and patience can be tough. Be patient. It'll take a few minutes for your documents to register when you upload. Don't hit the upload multiple times. This slide reviews some important rate lock information. Our rate lock window is open from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Rate locks are for 45 days and the loan must be closed by 5:30 on the lock expiration date. Lenders may request a rate lock extension up to 30 days at the cost of 0.02% of the loan amount per day. Lenders must notify the WEDA lock desk of any lock cancellations, and locks can be reinstated with no penalty within 48 hours of cancellation, given that the rate lock has not expired. After 48 hours, reinstated locks are subject to the rate lock policy. Now, for additional information, you can review sections 3 to 4.05 of the WEDA Policies and Procedures Manual. Now, before we wrap up the training, here are some final thoughts and resources for you as lending partners. Know where to find your resources. The most important link is found at the top, the Lender Toolkit, and you've heard me mention it throughout the training. That means it's really important. You should bookmark it within your browser. With it bookmarked, you'll have easy access to all of WEDA's resources at your fingertips. Lastly, we found these to be the most helpful sections for our lenders within our WEDA Policies and Procedures Manual. Take the time to review them, as there is a ton of information and resources listed here and answers to a lot of your questions. Got questions? For those in the live webinar training, you'll receive a follow-up email with a PDF copy of the training material. For those that are on-demand viewers, for questions or to request a PDF copy of the training material, please email sales@WHEDA.com. And as always, anytime you have questions, feel free to email us at sales@WHEDA.com, and our sales team is always here to assist you and address any questions that you have. Thank you again for attending today's training, and we appreciate your partnership with WEDA.